Hello, Creative Gems. Welcome back to Creativity. And if you're new here, I'm Sandy. Today we're going to do another cardboard box craft. This time I'm using a leftover box that used to hold my contact lenses. And just in case you're wondering, I'll just put a disclaimer out there that this video is not sponsored. I happen to keep this box because I thought it might come in handy one day, and well, here we are. What I like about crafting with this box is that it is both lightweight yet sturdy, and the cardboard box is not too thick, so it will be easy to work with for what we'll be making today. To start, I'm going to place this box on top of a piece of foam board and trace out the bottom of the box. I went ahead to cut out the piece of foam board, and now we're placing it right inside the box. This will give the bottom of the box a little bit more reinforcement. Next, I'm going to take some tacky glue, and we're going to apply some of the glue onto the inside of each flap as well as the handles. Once we have enough glue applied, we're going to fold each flap down inside the box. Doing this will also add a little bit more reinforcement to the sides of the box, but if your box is already thick enough, you can opt to cut out the flaps and handles off instead. And as I fold each flap down into the box, I'm going to clamp them down for a few minutes until the tacky glue takes hold. Remember, tacky glue doesn't dry as quickly as hot glue, so you'll need to give it some time for it to set. And in case you're wondering, I'm not using hot glue for this. It's because hot glue gets applied in clumps and also dries in clumps. And I want to make sure that when the flaps fold over, that they sit completely flat against the box. Now, for the flaps with the handle, I'm actually going to apply a tiny bit of hot glue because my clamp will not be long enough to reach so far down. The hot glue will cool and dry almost right away, so it will help keep this flap down while the tacky glue fully cures. Just make sure to apply the hot glue as thinly as possible to avoid the glue drying in thick clumps, since we want the handle part to stick as flat as possible against the side of the cardboard box. Once all the flaps and handles are clamped down, we'll give it a few minutes for the tacky glue to set before we remove the clamps. In the meantime, I want to show you these mirror tiles that we'll be using to embellish the cardboard box. I found these mirror tiles on Amazon and bought a bunch of them for less than 50 cents a piece. They measure 4 by 4 inches and are perfect for home decor crafts. We're going to use 2 of these tiles and adhere one on each of the smaller sides of the cardboard box. Since these mirror tiles are heavier than the cardboard itself, I've opted to use Fix-All, which is a strong adhesive that will provide a much more secure hold than tacky glue or white glue. And once again, I'm skipping the hot glue for this because I want to make sure the mirrors adhere to the box completely flat without any gaps caused by the clumps of hot glue. Each mirror tile is to be placed to the smaller side of this box, and it will be flush to the top and centered. Once again, to ensure that everything stays in place while the Fix-All cures, I'm using clamps to clamp down the mirrors to the cardboard box. And while we wait for the Fix-All to cure for our first mirror tile, we'll work on the second mirror tile and place it on the opposite side of the box. Okay, so it's actually the next day and the mirrors are fully affixed to the cardboard box. I have these mini mirror tile sheets also from Amazon, and we're going to cut the sheets down to size and place them onto the exposed areas of the cardboard box surrounding the mirror tile on each side. These mini mirror tiles are self-adhesive, so we won't even need any glue for this. And by the way, I know some of you will ask, so if you're interested in any of the craft supplies, tools, and materials I'm using today, I will have links to everything down in the description box. And while we work on laying down the mini mirror tiles, I would like to take a moment to thank you for tuning in to today's craft project. If you enjoy glam home decor and DIY crafts on a budget, please help me grow my channel by hitting that subscribe button. And if you like what you see today, please give me a thumbs up as well so the YouTube gods will continue to recommend my channel to other viewers like you. And the best part is subscribing and giving me a thumbs up is absolutely free, but will make a world of difference to me and my channel. And here's what the 2 smaller sides of the box looks like now with all the mirror tiles applied. And now you're probably wondering what we're going to do with the 2 larger sides of the box. Well, I picked a bunch of these frame mirrors from the Dollar Tree. I think they started selling these mirrors earlier this year, and when I saw them, I grabbed a whole bunch, only to realize that I had no clue what I wanted to do with them. Until now, of course. These mirrors have a black frame, but also with a black frame detailing on the mirror itself as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to use two of these mirrors, one for each of the remaining sides of our cardboard box. To begin, I'm actually going to trace out one of the mirrors on a piece of foam board. Then we'll cut two pieces of it down to size so we can insert one piece into the back of each of the frames. And I'm just using old leftover foam board because no one will see it after we cover it up with embellishments. So here's one piece of foam board that I have already cut down to size, and we're going to fit it inside the back of one of the frames. And notice how there's a little hole here at the back that you can use to hang the mirror. It protrudes out slightly, so we're going to have to account for that when we insert the foam board. And because we are using foam board, it will be easy to manipulate the foam board so it will fit. I'll show you in a sec what I mean. So I pressed down on the foam board while it was inside the back of the frame, and it made a little indentation in the shape of the hanging hole. So now I'm going to cut that shape out, except I'm going to be careful not to go all the way through the foam board. I'll cut away at the foam board just enough so we can fit the foam board into the back of the frame easily. It's kind of hard to explain in words what I'm doing, so it may be easier just to watch what I'm doing here. So now that we have made a little dip in the foam board in the exact shape and size of the hanging hole from the back of the frame, we'll go ahead and insert this piece of foam board into the back of the frame. And it looks like it fits perfectly. So I went ahead and made two of these foam board pieces, and now we'll go ahead and insert both pieces with a little bit of hot glue applied to the sides of the foam board pieces just to make sure everything stays in place. We want to make sure that the foam board pieces don't inadvertently pop out. Now, you may have noticed I used old foam board pieces that were left over from previous craft projects. They have some paint marks and scratches on them, so they're not very pretty. So we're going to embellish them with more of these mini mirror tiles we used earlier. In fact, by the time we're done this project, the entire cardboard box will have transformed into a fully mirrored box. And while we work on these sheets of mini mirror tiles, drop me a note down below with the words cardboard box and let me know if you like to craft with leftover cardboard boxes. And if you do, I would love to know what kind of home decor pieces you have made with your empty cardboard boxes. Next, I'm going to apply some Fix-All to the back of the frame where the cardboard box will make direct contact. I'm using this Fix-All because I want to make sure these mirrors don't detach from the cardboard box over time, and Fix-All is generally a pretty strong adhesive. And then I'll also apply a bit of hot glue so the cardboard box will adhere to the frame right away. That way we don't have to wait for the Fix-All to fully cure before we finish the rest of this craft project. And now that we have one mirror attached, I'm going to go ahead and attach the second one as well. Like we did for the first one, I'll use a combination of Fix-All and hot glue. Fix-All because it is a very strong adhesive that will provide a long-lasting hold, and hot glue because it cools and dries almost immediately. Here I'm gently pressing the two mirrors to the box. The box is now sandwiched in between the two frame mirrors. Now, for the black frames on the side, I want to embellish that space with some diamond wrap. Of course, if you think less is more, you can keep them bare black and your box will still look fine. For my box though, I have some diamond wrap that I will cut to size and then I'll hot glue each strip to the frame. What I like about this diamond wrap is that the gem pieces are clear while the mesh is black, so the mesh will literally be invisible against the black frame. And by the way, I'm being very light-handed with the hot glue because I want to avoid having clumps of hot glue being visible through the mesh. Of course, you could use some white glue instead because the white glue they have at the Dollar Tree dries clear. But the downside of using white glue is you would have to wait at least a half hour or up to an hour for the white glue to fully dry before you can touch the frame without messing it up. With hot glue, it cools and dries almost instantaneously, so there's really no waiting time. Perfect for those impatient crafters like myself. In fact, if you're still with me, drop me a note down below and let me know if you're also an impatient crafter. Do you get so excited about finishing a craft project that you just can't wait? Or do you prefer to take your time even if the project takes days to complete because of the drying time? Well, our mirror box is looking quite nice, except silly me, I totally forgot about the inside of the box. Because we folded down the flaps earlier, you can see the original branding and coloring on the flaps. So we're going to have to figure out how to cover that to give this mirrored box a more finished professional look. So I measured and cut out additional pieces of foam board and we're going to slide them straight inside the box. There's going to be one piece per side. So the two bigger pieces fit perfectly, but the pieces I cut out for the smaller sides are a bit too tall, and so we'll need to go ahead and fix that. And while I work on that, drop me a note and let me know if any of you celebrate Christmas. And if you do, I would be curious to know if you have started to think about Christmas decorations yet. The thought just occurred to me yesterday that we are only 3 months away, and I know last year around this time, Dollar Tree already started stocking their shelves with beautiful and festive decoration supplies in their holiday section. So, guess where I'll be going this weekend, right? I can't wait to get their silver and gold mini ornament balls, and we'll see what other treasures we'll find there. Okay, so now that all four pieces of foam board fit perfectly inside the box, I've temporarily removed them from the box so we can cover them with something nice. You may have noticed that I used leftover foam pieces, so there's some pen marks, glue stains, and paint marks that we'll want to cover up. Of course, if you're using brand new foam board, you can skip this step. For my pieces, I have chosen the silver glitter fabric that I found at the Dollarama. They come in rolls and are thicker than regular paper, kind of similar to the thickness of faux leather. I prefer using this because it is a bit thicker so it won't rip easily like paper would, yet it's also flexible and foldable. Once I have all four pieces cut to size, I'll go ahead and glue each piece to their respective foam board using some tacky glue. I'll also add a very thin beading of hot glue to the very edges to make sure that the ends don't start to curl away from the foam board while the tacky glue fully dries. Just make sure when you apply the hot glue, you apply it as thinly and flat as possible to prevent the hot glue from drying in clumps. And to keep this video from getting too long, I'll go ahead and fast forward this part. Okay, so now we're on the last piece. And by the way, if you can't find this silver glitter fabric that I'm using, you could actually just use some Mod Podge and sprinkle some silver glitter directly onto the foam board pieces. Or you can grab some felt fabric instead, or even use faux leather as I mentioned earlier. You actually have lots of options to choose from to make the inside of the box pretty. In fact, even using good quality craft paper would look beautiful inside. The Dollar Tree sells lots of craft paper with designs, patterns, and colors, and they're pretty thick too, so the quality is really, really good. All right, so now we've got all four pieces done, and we're ready to reinsert each of them back into the box. I'll start with the bottom piece, and look at that, it's going in perfect. And I'll go ahead with the second piece as well, and that's going in very nicely. And then I'll finish off the last three pieces. And so far, it looks like each piece is fitting inside the box perfectly snug. And now for the finishing touches. Many of you who have seen some of my other craft projects will already know that I normally like to cover up the seams and gaps and edges on the craft pieces that I make. So here we have a slight gap between the cardboard box and the foam board, so I'm going to go ahead and cover them up. But first I'm going to add a tiny bit of hot glue behind the foam pieces and then use a clamp to clamp the foam board and cardboard box together for about a minute. Once all the hot glue is fully cooled, the clamps can be removed, and then I'm going to go ahead and cover the seams with some beautiful gem pieces. These are all small square pieces that are just about the right size, so I'm going to go ahead and adhere them with some tacky glue. And the great thing about using tacky glue is you actually will have plenty of time to shift things around and reposition things before the tacky glue really sets in. And of course, I'm going to use my nifty gem picker tool to make the job much easier. If any of you like to get your nails done, you may recognize this because this is also known as a rhinestone picker for placing tiny little gems onto your fingernails. But as you can see here, I'm using it for crafting, and the gem picker tool really makes the job go much faster. And yes, I'll have a link in the description box for this gem picker tool along with all my other favorite crafting tools. And here I'm also using the flat side of a ruler to help me ensure the gems are laying in a straight line. Okay, so both sides are now done, and I decided that for this mirrored box, more is more when it comes to blinging out this box. So I decided that I'm going to add a strip of silver rhinestone trim to the top of the black frame for each mirror. I know some of you might think I'm going overboard, but after all, this channel is all about glam home decor. And you know what I always say, the more bling, the better. In fact, let me know down in the comments if you agree. And with this last strip of rhinestone trim, there's nothing more we can do to bling this box out because every square inch of this box is all blinged out now. And here's a final look for our cardboard box transformation. We have an absolutely gorgeous one-of-a-kind mirrored box. It sits beautifully on a table countertop or fireplace mantle. My only challenge now is to figure out what I can use it for. Comment down below with the words cardboard box and help me with some ideas on what I could use this mirrored box for. One idea I came up with is to use it as a flower pot to hold full flowers in, but I'm open to other suggestions that you may have. In the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to my channel and share with other creative gems. Also, hit the notification bell and check out these next videos for more amazing glam home decor craft ideas.